All right, so I actually didn't expect to present this. I thought I was just going to talk along the line, but when I was asked to present something, this is a presentation we gave last November to a group at the University of San Diego, and it's not too far away from the information you would like to know anyway. So the project was actually 4 people. That's why you see 4 names there: Emmett Pearl and Rick Brown. All those other students are, 2 of them are master's students right now, and 1 of them is working in the industry. So it will be a little different, but this is the overview. I'll just give you a little bit of the background of how I got to USD and how I got to come to America and back to South Sudan, and how we did the project as well. So I was telling some of you the other day about my story of how I got to the United States, and it began in 1994. That was in the middle of the civil war in South Sudan, where the Sudanese government was fighting the SPLA rebels. That time, that's when my village was attacked. I actually don't recollect that movement because I was 7 years old, and I fled with about there was 5 other members of my family. They were all boys. And then we collectively joined up with other villages, and soon enough we had thousands of boys running away to the refugee camp in Ethiopia.
And that picture is actually a picture of, I mean, it's kind of inconceivable, but these thousands of, we call them lost boys when they got to America, were walking across South Sudan to get to the neighboring country of Ethiopia.
Nation book. Is it God?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I showed this picture because it really shows what life was like before I left, and really right now it's still like that in the village of South Sudan. It's a cattle base, kind of living, Everyone has a role. All the little boys, I had a role before I left. Before I'm 10 years old, I herd goats. When I get old enough, I herd cattle before I move on. So that's what life was like for me before I left. And this is what happened when the Civil War started. Really, it wasn't so much government versus the SPLA. It was, as you heard in Darfur, the government sending their militia to burn down and raid villages. And these are all the areas that were usually attacked by the militia. And I showed you the route that we all took to the refugee camp here in eventually when Ethiopia had its own civil war, we relocated back into Sudan and then to Khartoum, the refugee camp in Kenya. So this journey that we undertook, really I'm lucky to be telling you this because a lot of people did not make it, and most of all, really people like me were the one that did not make it because most of the boys that took off were in the age range from 13 to 16 to 17, and I was 8. So sometimes I had to be carried. I did not know how to swim. if I was sick, there was no medical services, so I was a lot more vulnerable to, not looking.
How long was the journey?
When you measure it out on the map, it's about 300 miles.
How long
But-
did it take?
About 3 months, because sometimes it's too hot,
Yeah.
you can't cross, there's no water, sometimes it's too wet. I mean, on the Nile, there's, I don't know if you've heard of the Sudan, it's pretty much something like 50 miles of water, and you can't cross it.
So when you left, did you know where you were going, or was it just
Me personally, I didn't. There were other people that knew. All they knew was that safety was in this direction, and we just kind of went.
And where are the girls?
The girls, most of them would just go run and hide with the older people and come back to the villages. One of the reasons that the boys, it was only the boys I met, was because the militia tend to kill the boys because they did not want to join the rebels. The other thing was that it was more acceptable for the boys to kind of run off, and because they also heard that there would be education where there is safety. I don't know if it was true or not, but that was the understanding from the villages. So the boy kind of took off thinking, safety, and also maybe there would be education. So when we left Ethiopia, we went back to Sudan, and that was a very dangerous time because there were two forces from both sides. The Ethiopians were killing us, and when you cross into Sudan, the government would intercept us and try to kill us. So it was the rebels that would fight out the government, so we could escape to northern Kenya there, where that you can see here. It held over 300,000 refugees. It's huge.
It's over 400 now.
Yeah.
Yeah, we tend to think that refugee camps are kind of short term, and they end up being.
Yeah, I lived there for 8 years before I went to the U.S. So it was.
The average length of life in a camp on Earth is 26 years.
It's not only a camp, but it's a type of city.
Yeah.
It's an established place.
So in 2000, randomly the UN, along with some U.S. representatives, came to the camp and saying that they would take some of us to the U.S. We don't know whether they got the list of the people going, but it turned out that they basically just took the younger portion of the population and said they would relocate them to the U.S. It was disrupted by the 2001, the 9/11 event. But about 3,800 of us were taken to the U.S.
Yeah, it was the plan of the State Department at the time to do multiple resettlements, starting with this group of 3,800. But then with 9/11, that whole program ended. And so many of the people who lived in Kakuma, like Mo, they were expecting to come to the U.S. as well, but they never made it because the program ended abruptly.
So in the U.S., I was placed with a foster family that I still live with right now. Actually, when I go back, I stay with them. Winchester is in the suburb of Boston. I attended middle school there. I started in 6th grade when I got there. And then I went to, they took me to boarding school nearby. Eventually, I went to the University of San Diego, where I studied electrical engineering. And this is where this whole process of, of being here started, actually.
Wonderful.
In the intersection of between 2008 and 2009. I went back to the village for the first time with my cousin Bo. And that's where we noticed the village had not changed, not one bit. If there was anything, there were more trees, but there was nothing different. They still, children still had to walk hours to the nearest school. And we thought maybe we can still bring a school to the village. That's when we started fundraising along with Ron to bring the school to the village. And then when I was a senior at the University of San Diego, to do we all have to do a capstone project, some sort of design before you graduate. And really bringing electricity to the school was just kind of it was kind of a joke at first. I considered it, but I didn't think it would be a fruit because for several reasons. It was just too expensive, and some of them would, some of the faculty would say it's not technical enough, all kinds of reasons. But it was actually Ron that I met that summer before before the school year, who convinced me to do it. And I went to talk to the faculty, and they approved it. It took some work because we had to add some things that we would do in order for them to approve it.
How long, when you went back, how long was it after the war?
2008, so after the war. Well, I mean, the war had just ended in 2005, so 3 years. So the project, we knew it would have to be off-grid because there is no such a thing as a grid in South Sudan. And the requirements are fairly simple. We list a lot of these because a lot of times we had to present to our faculty, and it had to be detailed, very detailed focus. We had to explain everything. I mean, obviously to you, if you're going to South Sudan, the energy has to be, off-grid. You don't have to tell me that. We had different phases. We actually had a 3 kilowatt system on the roof of the engineering building at USD to kind of prove that that we could do it and everything. And then phase 2 was the actual installation, which is still going on right now. Hopefully it will end this month.
So, and what's the kilowatts are you getting to that? Sorry. How big a system are you putting on the roof of the school?
It would be 6 kilowatts, but at USD we had a 3 kilowatt. And this is in phase 1. We divided that into 2 phases too, because it was fall and spring. In the fall, when you're busy writing out everything, so you actually don't get to do much of the technical materials. So we were actually lucky. No one else had anything like this. So we were able to collect these and put them together in that first phase. And this was just a wiring diagram. This was for the faculty. They wanted to know everything. Actually, a lot of them did not know much about solar system. In fact, one of my teachers did not know what an inverter was. So they didn't know much of it either. So when we needed to know, when we had trouble, we actually went to some of the San Diego Gas and Electric workers, and they helped us out. In fact, we had 2 meetings with them. I don't know if you have ever attended. But we got help from the industry, not from the engineering department. This is the system here. You can see the computer, so containing the software that we were designing. And this is the inverter with controllers are on that side. And we actually made that skit too. We designed it and put it together ourselves. That was some cool work. This is the software that we designed in Matthew. Has multiple parameters, so you can see, battery state. You can shut off the inverter. You can see the power output, throughout the day, and you can see, if you have multiple arrays, if that one is on, that one is off. Just all kind of things, because we had to do this in order. This was our technical part of the project, so we had to make it nice. This was the schedule. This is not the same anymore. Things changed. We didn't know what the logistics of taking the materials to the building would be. If we knew, we'd probably give it 2 years instead of months. We had a lot of challenges in the beginning. First of them being getting it approved and really getting started. A lot of people were like, when you told them, they would be like, well, that's a great idea, but I'm not getting involved. That's just it's way too complicated. And also the politics of Sudan. When you told them, I want to bring this to South Sudan, they were like, isn't there fighting going on there? How are you going to do this? How are you going to do this? And some of them would be like, it's Sudan. If you bring it there, they will steal the copper wire. I mean, just all kind of random things. So as I told you, in 2010 we got started and we got it approved as well. This was a learning process for us. We really knew nothing about off-grid system. In the U.S., if you ask a typical engineering student, even electrical, what an inverter is right now, they probably, 50% of them probably don't know what it is and what it does. All kind of things. We had to talk outside. We got a lot of advice, and it was a learning process the whole time. The fundraising, now that was something we really didn't know. This project cost $70,000.
17 or 70?
Huh? 70. And we didn't know how to fundraise.
Is that for both the prototype that you built as well as the actual system that's being shipped over?
Yeah, because a lot of the materials we use in the prototype, like the inverter, are actually part of the actual system that was being built. And we started talking to some of the people at USD, and then slowly and slowly we gained some support. There was a company that did a solar installation on campus just that summer, a 5 megawatt installation. They gave us a lot of support, mainly because they wanted to say, when they talked to us, they wanted to say, oh, we're supporting the students. So it was really for publicity, but we didn't care. It was in fact, they're the one that donated us the solar panel, Jinko panels from China.
What products did you? I'm curious, what charge controller did you use?
Pretty much everything except the solar panels are from Outback Power, and they donated all those. Yeah. This was, our project was also publicity for the school. In fact, our president, was telling us that she went to Australia and, talking to some of the donors about us doing this project, So they put us on their website, all kinds of things. So that's how we got some support as well. The politics of Sudan obviously had to play into this because how are we going to get there to install it? Any donor that we talked to, this was the first priority. And we had to talk to them a lot about, to convince them that it was possible. Mainly because I'm from there, I can go there even if there is war. In 2005, when they signed the peace agreement, that really helped us because there was actually some sort of peace there now. That helped to convince them. So in January 2011, that was a very important time where they voted for independence. Then we knew that South Sudan would be independent, and that was good news for us. We could go in without going to Khartoum, which may not allow us to go at all because we were U.S. citizens. So in July, about, actually last Monday, a year from last Monday, that was when South Sudan became an independent country. That was just a voting, when they were voting, when they gained independence.
So English is one of the languages that's...
English is now the medium language for the government. I mean, Arabic is still probably the most popular, but for people like me that don't know Arabic that well, it's still hard because people don't know English all that well.
So when you were in the camp, you were speaking the village languages?
Yeah, tribal language is Dinka.
On your map with the red, can you point out where the significant oil deposits are?
Well, there's actually a lot of oil, but right here is basically at the border. There is a lot right here, but it actually hasn't been tapped yet, and that's what they're trying to get through Kenya and Mombasa.
So the pipeline is north?
The pipeline
or
right now
east?
it runs from here to the north to the Red Sea.
Right.
And they just shut that off, so.
So who's building the pipeline across Kenya?
Across Kenya, I think it's Toyota. But there's also talk of, because there's actually going to be two pipelines. One is going to be running through Ethiopia and to Djibouti, I think somewhere here actually. And then the other one I think will run through Kenya. I think there's a Texas company, I think, will build the one that runs through Ethiopia. I'm not sure.
They will do whatever they have to do to get the oil.
Yeah,
But
basically.
they will do very little to build the school.
Yeah, exactly. So this was, obviously this was the project out there. So we, we had to tell them what was next for the project and everything. South Sudan, we were just telling them has a lot of resources, and most of them are really untapped. And that's why there's so much war. Which is also the reason, it's another reason that prevents us from doing all these kind of projects, because then it's too much political. So, these are just some of the pictures of when the school started last year. They just did these grant ads to start the school year, and now we are building the permanent building. These were all the people that helped us. It was a lot. In fact, we haven't really listened to everyone that significantly helped us. So that is the end of it. And I guess I will talk to you about what kind of my plans for the actual electricity project in South Sudan. When I was a junior, obviously I thought I would just graduate and either go to grad school or work for some company in the U.S. But when we have, we did this project, it occurred to me that I could do this in South Sudan yes, I may not make much money or any money at all, but you know, it was a chance to bring electricity to an area that, you know, the people that maybe they have not seen electricity ever. So I thought maybe I could turn this into a company and just expand what we just did at USP. And when Robin emailed me about this opportunity, I was very ecstatic because that was a chance that would push me to that level. So, like the folks at Cameroon, we have the same situation where you would have a market and a bunch of, you know, a lot of people living around that market without electricity. And I thought this is where we needed to start. But we can't go out all the way to the villages and bring electricity there and leave the market with no electricity. So we will have to do a hybrid system is what I'm thinking really. I want to do exactly what they're doing in Haiti, but also incorporate the mini grid to serve the market in the populous area around 200-meter radius or something. That's basically what I'm thinking right now. I mean, as in an electrical engineer, it's not so difficult for me to imagine how I would do that. So I think it will be more of the business plan that would be a challenge for me to put in place. But I know it definitely works. So, yeah, thank you.
What are the limitations for your solar system at the school? Are you only using it for lighting? What else?
The school, I mean, that's a good question actually, because the 6 kilowatt system, that is way too much for school. I mean, they could really do the 1 kilowatt system. So now we have a plan to put some sort of business in place during the summer when they're not using the school to bring in some money, to make it sustainable. Say you need to replace the battery, there would be money in place. Also, it would be a source of revenue for the school. So, battery charging, that is an obvious. There are other things like when I return to the U.S., I want to bring a photo printer because photos are very popular there. So, bring a little photo printer and a camera. They would have electricity, obviously. They take pictures and print them. That's a source of money. And maybe maybe a projector, for one of the rooms, to have movies. People will pay to watch those movies. So there are a lot that we can use the electricity for.
That's very good because as you will find, so you do the school and you got the clinic. Sometimes you have a lot of people coming to the clinic who are able to pay. Bottom line is that you're going to find that a lot of these things spend a lot of money, and the people in the village, they're very good at spending the money because the needs are obvious, but it is very difficult to get people to think in terms of income generation. And so financial self-sustainability, it's as I'm sure you're finding out, it's very difficult, and that's something that I think we can put our arms together because we're struggling with the same things in Cameroon. Yeah, we want to do all these good things, clinic, schools, and all of these things, but how are those things going to survive long-term financially?
Definitely, I mean, they have to be sustainable, or else I don't want to be involved.
Exactly.
I'm not really interested in any charity.
And the challenge is that the people, if my experience in Cameroon goes beyond that, the people are not really thinking about that. Especially when they see you, they are thinking, okay, he's going to help us do this. I know Mike and I have had sometimes to arm wrestle our people to say, that chicken project, you're just telling us about how much money you're going to spend to do this, you're not telling us how that money is going to come back.
Yeah.
And you're going to find that sometimes you have to really work with the people to say, no, you're telling us you're going to spend $1,000. First show us how you're going to get $1,000 after we've spent $1,000. And that's something that you're going to find is easier said than done. When you actually start to work with people to do those things, you're going to find that there's resistance. Sometimes not because the people don't want to do it, but they've not done it before, or at least they've not done it at that scale. And that's why we need to work together so that we could be learning from each other's experiences. Because we've had some experience over the years with dealing with our local leaders who are having a hard time thinking about different ways of generating income.
And I'm in a special position, obviously, because I can connect to the West, but also be at their level and tell them, you know, you can't be getting free stuff all the time.
Exactly.
It's not. I know one of the biggest issues they've had is hunger. But before, before the World Food Program, really hunger was not there.
And there was never an issue. Exactly.
People stopped planting their own food, crop, because they would say, well, the UN. Now, basically, they don't even know how to now. So, and now that the UN is leaving, they have a problem. So they're starting to go back to the old ways because there is no UN.
Very much.
Yes.